Morning, everyone. Josh here, Solopreneur Grind. It is Friday, April the 26th. Hope your week's gone well. It's been a short week on my end, maybe on your end too. Again, depending on what country you live in. If you had Monday off, short weeks are always interesting because you're usually playing catch up and you don't have as much time to do it as normal. But hey, I spoke about in the last few dailies, talked about how to prepare for breaks, how to come back from breaks, all that good stuff. So check out SG Dailies 44 through 46 if you want to kind of hear about that stuff. I'm not going to lie, I was struggling to come up with what I wanted to talk about today. So normally, just to give you a little more insight into this thing, I'm pointing to my brain for those listening on the podcast, is normally there's so much going on in business, right? So I run, my main business is a law practice. And it doesn't matter really what your business is. If you're running a business, if you're working on a business, if you're thinking of starting a business, there's so many moving pieces. There's so much going on. There's always something floating around in my head, which is why I had the idea for the vlog in the first place. Because the thinking was, if I'm having all these thoughts, it means I'm either crazy or everyone else is going through something similar, and it would probably help to get it out of my brain. It's almost like a form of journaling, right? It's like verbal journaling. And B, if other people are feeling the same, then at least they can kind of, listen to it and kind of feel like they're not the only one out there, which is kind of the purpose of the brand, Solopreneur Grind, is yes, we're working on a business alone or maybe with a small team or maybe even building out that team. But the reason why I started it is because there's so many of us doing this now successfully, and we should do it together, right? We should have a community and know that there's other people out there doing it too. So even when you are grinding through the tough times, at least there's other people like me, like you out there doing something. And C is the people who haven't yet started but are thinking about it can get an insight into what it's like. So all that being said, it's normally easy for me to think of a topic. The last few weeks I've been working with themes. So this past week, the theme has been, dealing with breaks, coming back from breaks. The week before that was content creation, what I've been thinking about for content creation. I think next week, the theme will probably be sales. And that's a very broad topic. I might even do like a sub theme within sales because it's so important and there's so many aspects to it. And I recently started blending my bulletproof coffee. So not just mixing it with a spoon, but actually using a blender. Highly recommended. Anyways, so today I was kind of flat. I don't know why. I know what I have to do. I think the reason it is because right now my to-do list is very clear. There's like, my day is scheduled. I know exactly what to do. I know exactly what order I have to do it in. I've prepared mentally for it. I got to do it. And so there's not as much like things going around in my head in terms of what should I do? How should I do it? If that makes sense. And then what I realized is that that's probably a good thing once in a while, right? It's good to have some, how do I say this? Steadier days where you don't have to be thinking as much. Today is a day where I kind of have to go through the motions, which is fine because there's so many days where you're doing the opposite. You're flying by the seat of your pants. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's coming up next. So I think having that balance is really good. And then the latest Solopreneur Grind podcast came out today, SG Podcast episode 31 with Michelle from the Business of Baking. I highly recommend you give it a listen. Her business is called The Business of Baking. It started as a bakery and turned into a blog about running a bakery so that she could help other people do it because so many people were interested in learning how she did it. And it's just turned into this huge empire of how she helps people build their own businesses and blogs, whether it be about baking or not, because she's just really good at business. And the key takeaway I took from that episode is to keep it simple, shut up and go take action, right? Her saying is, done is better than perfect, which is such a good saying. Done is better than perfect. It's so important in entrepreneurship because you can waste a lot of time doing a lot of things that may give you a very marginal improvement. So yes, spending an extra hour to re-edit that blog post might make it a slightly better blog post? Or should you just post it and go work on the next one, right? Go work on the next article, or go push it on Instagram or promote it on Facebook or whatever. So anyways, that kind of put me back into the right mindset of, well, some days you just got to chug along and you just got to keep things simple, stick to what's working, forget about what's not working, double down on what is working and forget about what's not working. But I highly recommend listening to the episode. It was an episode, A, she has a really cool story, and B, it really grounded me in the sense that sometimes you don't have to create magic, right? We don't all have to be Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Elon Musk building the new flashiest thing in the world. Michelle's story is really great because of how simple it is, because of how natural her progression was, because of how she just stuck to the hard work, did a little bit of research, and then took a ton of action. And that's a key theme for a lot of the guests I've had on, is do a little bit of research, get a little bit educated, and then take a hell of a lot of action and help a lot of people. So anyways, hope that gives you a little bit of perspective where I'm at right now. I got to go grind it out for my Friday. I hope your week's gone well too. And the other thing I'll mention is I'm running a freebie Friday today. Check out my Instagram at Solopreneur and definitely check out today's podcast. I'm going to link it in the description of whatever you're listening this to on. Hope you have a great weekend. Hope things are going well. Hope the grind is going well. And I will talk to you on Monday.